see you. I can't see you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Cottrell live.
Dude, I can't see you.
I'm gonna fix that. What just happened? And why are we here, Paul?
Why are we here? In terms of COVID-19?
Yes.
Or in terms of us having this conversation?
In terms of COVID-19 and us having this conversation.
Well, Diamond, you and I are both. Are you recording this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I just erased the last video.
You and I are okay. So we are on the same side. All right.
Yeah, I just erased that video. But I felt bad about it. Let me get to it. I think I still have. There it is. I still have memories of it. Go ahead.
All right. Are you recording now?
Yeah, we've been recording now for 1 minute and 6 seconds.
Okay. All right. So the reality of the situation is that we're here to help people. That's our main mission. All right. But we also have to realize that this country is in danger. Our country is in danger of losing many of our civil liberties, especially our biological ones. And that was why we partnered together to spread the word to the best of our abilities. And we come from different perspectives. And you're right in many regards. But I'm also coming from a theoretical framework where the death ratios might be very, very high, or higher, I should say, not very high, but higher than what you were stating, because of the diseases that seem to be unique to the American public. And I think that people need to understand that. And they're going to start getting feared. They're going to start seeing a lot of fear when they see 40% of the equity market erased. And they get laid off, and they start getting behind on their mortgage payments, or their car payments, or their credit card payments. It's going to happen. So, we're going to have to, we're going to have to be able to, work together to try to solve this problem. But these numbers are going to get larger. And when people start to panic, they're going to start realizing, you know what? Maybe Paul was right. I haven't been wrong yet. And I hope I'm wrong in the near future, because what's coming around the corner is dark. It's really dark. But in 8 weeks, I believe that the first responders are going to start to break down, because they're going to get sick, or they don't have the materiel to do their job.
Well, let's talk about what happens.
That means that medications.
Let's talk what happens next week when the actual test kits.
What happens next week when there's going to be a big blip up of the numbers in the thousands, maybe tens of thousands. You're predicting even higher than that. I'm not saying that it's beyond the tens of thousands, but I can see a lot of cases. But as it starts to creep up and the failure starts to take place, next week is the 8-week countdown. Wednesday, 8 weeks, we're going to see, not all across the United States, but in many centers that are heavily populated, an overrun of the primary care. And at that 8-week mark is going to be the FEMA camps and the tertiary military zones that are going to take cases. 8 weeks. And it's going to burn through the equity market so fast that you're going to wish you had Lehman.
Well, they just did 0.5% today. So what does that mean?
Well, the 0.5%, the 0.5% is to help save the banks, to get them positioned for the next big fall, because they're illiquid. They're having problems, and that cut is not to stimulate the economy because people aren't going to go buying in the middle of a pandemic. They know that. They know that. So it's just a short-term hit for the banks before the next downfall. Because when that 50-day moving average starts to curl and hits that 200-day moving average on the equity market in the U.S., the big drop is going to happen. It's curling down, but it's going to take time for it to cross over. But when that does cross over in a few weeks, maybe a couple weeks, but when that does cross over, it's going to sell off hard. And that's we're already in recessionary territory because we're below the 200-day moving average. And it's really going to go to hell in a handbasket once that 50-day crosses that 200-day moving average. People are going to get laid off. And there's nothing that has been projected by the government on what they're going to do when that recession hits. But the 8-week mark happens, and then the Lehman problems and the mortgage-backed securities and defaults on loans and all that will start happening 2-3 months out from that. So when you're looking at the 16-week mark, you're going to see a lot more stress in the economy. And then when are people going to come back to work? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? So 20 weeks from now is going to be really dark in terms of people sick, and it's going to be really dark because of the economy. Because it's a biological disaster with a financial disaster at the same time, because the banks are not liquid. And we've known this for a while now, almost a year. We've known this, a little less than a year.
So the markets are down what, like 12% in a week and a half?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I don't know the exact number, but it's down by a lot.
And so, we're looking at it maybe 30 to 40% reduction.
I'm saying 40% from the high. So that takes you it takes you about, on the S&P 500, that's taken you to approximately 1,800. You're at about 1,800 for the S&P 500, roughly. That's a big drop. That's preventing people from retiring that were thinking about retiring within a year or two, because it's going to take forever to get back to 3,000, if ever, because who knows what's going to happen in this country.
And isn't it crazy that if you look at some of the data here at COVID-19info.live, how it's just beginning to spread outside of China and the global infection rate is just rising, that there is really no end in sight. So we're talking at least 4 to 6 weeks before there could even be a potential for leveling off, but more like 8 to 12 weeks or even longer, because we won't know for 4 to 6 weeks if it's leveling off. Isn't that insane?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 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 And again, I get back to the health state of Americans. And this could be extended because of the problems that they have with their health. So that's why I keep on saying on my channel, 6 months, 6 months from like right now, 6 months away, you might as well flush down the GDP down the toilet. It's gone. It's gone. It's going to be bad, because the banks are going to. We're already hearing cases where people can't take out 1,500 out of the bank. They're asking them to come back the next day. There's something wrong there when you can't do that. And I've had 3 separate people tell me this from 3 separate states.
Yeah, well, there's a law going into effect in Australia where you can't make any cash transactions above 10 grand.
Yeah, but they were only these people were taking my advice, and they were only taking 1,500 out. I told people that you need cash on hand. Take it out of the bank. And I said, if you have the means, take 2,000 out and put it under your mattress, just in case you need to buy stuff. And then the ones that didn't have those means, take out what you can. And they took my advice and they tried to do that. And the banks told them to come back the next day. They were willing only to give them 500. The banks are not liquid, is my point.
This is in New York.
They're not liquid. No, they were. These cases weren't that called in were not from New York. Some of them were. Two of them were in the southern states. One of them was in the northern states. But either way, they weren't little mom and pop, credit unions or anything like that. Two of them were regional banks, were like a regional bank. And one was a larger, one of the big five, but it's a problem. People need to realize that, and maybe people think that I am being too fear mongering, but here's my problem. I've been nice for 4 weeks, saying, kumbaya, let's work together and do something to save our nation, and a lot of people are sitting on the couch, being passive and not doing anything. So it's time to light a fire under their butt to get them moving. So that's not fear mongering; it's motivation. I don't see. I see it as motivation. It's Americans don't care. Let it burn down, and then maybe whoever's surviving, has a better life. I don't know. I hope people can wake up. But I honestly, the last 2 days, I'm very pessimistic on the American spirit. Very pessimistic, because I don't think Americans have the wherewithal to go through this. Americans have never seen hardship like this. They don't know what hardship is, like at this level.
No, this is like,
collectively, and like a societal.
Yeah, it's like scaredy cat central. Like, I don't even see how this moves forward correctly.
I don't know. I mean, I put my heart and soul into this to help people. Maybe I'm into it too deep. Maybe I should just, close down the channel and just not do any more videos. I don't need this. I don't need it, really.
Well, none of us.
So if someone's out there, someone's out there and wants my fucking channel, then just tell me and I'll give it to you. I don't need this bullshit.
So what do you suggest we do, Paul?
You have to be prepared. If the people that haven't prepared already for their home, that's the very first thing. You have to protect your family and prepare them. You have the nutraceuticals, you have the food. And again, you have to work with your neighbors. But you need the problem that we have that's going forward here now is that you need to reach your representatives and have a plan for the economic disaster that's coming now. No one listened to me about the biological disaster and to make sure that we had a transparency from the CDC. Now it's a financial disaster that's coming. Where's the moratoriums for debt forgiveness or for loan extension? You need to start talking to your representatives about that, because when you get laid off, you're going to wish you did talk to them when you had a job.
So the death rate in the U.S. is currently like 30,000 times more deadly than the flu. 30,000 more times. But the death rate
but I mean, we
is wrong. But
but we know,
and as
yeah, but
far
we
as
know that,
the
yeah,
common cold, the death rate is tens of thousands of times higher than the common cold.
yeah. I mean, it's
That kills
like you made the point on the previous video, once the real numbers come in from the COVID-19, the death rate is going to go down drastically. But you got to also remember there were probably deaths that been classified as influenza-like deaths that weren't classified as COVID because they were never tested for COVID. So that skews the data also. But the bigger skew of the data is just not testing for current cases. And, but when it's all said and done, because of the health of this country, I wouldn't be surprised that it's in between 3 to 5% death rate. And I'm sticking with that number until I see better data. Because my gut feeling is that
based on confirmed cases, I would agree.
So, but but what do they need to do? Well, in 8 weeks, they need to start preparing for a broken down medical care system. And that's why you and I have said to get those nutraceuticals, get that thieves oil, or get that forskolin, or get that, get whatever you can that's antiviral and boost up your immune system, because you're not going to have the medical care that you're used to. I mean, there's doctors that are being interviewed on mainstream media now that are sounding alarm, that they're worried that the ERs are going to get overrun, and they don't have enough masks and enough supplies, and that if the nurses and doctors start getting sick, they're not going to be coming to work. So who's going to be treating you? So it's not fear-mongering. It's showing a mirror to the American public of what's really going on in this country, and with all of its problems. But I still, there's a little bit of me saying that the American spirit can persevere. But I'll tell you what, after going through this for 5 weeks, day in and day out, every day, never taking a break, I've gotten to the point where a lot of Americans, they're pieces of shit, and they just don't want it. They don't want to get off their fucking ass, and it's sad. It's really sad.
Well, welcome to the real world, where people want when they want it and when they want it.
Yeah.
And soon they might be stuck in their homes for a long period of time.
No, I'm half tempted to just shut down the channel and just not talk about this ever again, because no one's listening. It's not worth it. Why should I elevate my blood pressure dealing with this bullshit?
Well, you should certainly spend time preparing for yourself and yours. And
well, I mean, I've had, we've stocked up, but I'll tell you what, I'm getting to the point, Diamond, all kidding aside, I'm losing faith in America. I'm losing faith in community. And I'm to the point where it's like, let everybody, it's
get out of Dodge.
You and I have not been wrong on this. That's the scary part of this, is we've been dead right from day one. I want to be wrong.
Yeah, doesn't it suck being right sometimes?
Yeah, when it's carnage, there's carnage and death and destruction. Yeah, absolutely. But people didn't pay attention.
Yeah,
people didn't pay attention. We could have shut down those borders. Yeah, well, it's going to get worse, because by them not paying attention, it's going to spread the disease. It's going to make it worse, because they think it's just the flu. And this is not the flu. They're not even close to the flu.
No. The flu kills 0.2% of its victims. This is exceptionally more deadly.
Mm-hmm. Even with using the 1% to 2% range that you've been talking about. Yeah, exactly. It's even more when you're talking to 3 to 5%. But I just you know I'm losing faith in America right now. Really, really. I've said it on my channel, and I'm not sure if it's maybe people care, maybe people don't.
So what do you want
Maybe I
America?
am a little.
What do you want America to do?
Not to panic, not to not to hoard, not to be self-centered. Get engaged with your politicians and tell them that you want change. You want transparency. The CDC is definitely it is axiomatic. It's it's proof positive that the CDC was hiding, that they weren't being transparent. Anyone with a brain could see that. And you and I were saying that weeks ago. So that's not fear mongering. That's showing a light on the powers that be that didn't want to tell us the real story. See, you and I, Diamond, are future thinkers, while people are present thinkers. You and I are weeks ahead of the game here in terms of what we're seeing. And maybe I'm a little bit more sensitive to the situation because of me being in New York and everything, and everything's everything's supercharged in New York, while you're in a nice, calm, nature-filled area where you can you're closer to nature, so you can have a little bit less of this hyperbole that I have. But the bottom line is we're coming from the same.
The same what? Paul, are you there?
The death and the death and the destruction in the near future in the United States. It's coming. It's not like this is just a little cold, and people are we're going to look back on this as like the pre-COVID days and the post-COVID days. There's going to be a delineation in our psyche. Just like 9/11, pre-9/11, post-9/11. Where were you during 9/11? Everyone says that. Well, where were you when COVID-19 happened? That's the gravity of this.
I had a dream that we're going to live through COVID-20 and COVID-21 as well. Final words.
Well, I stopped dreaming because I stopped sleeping.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.